Welcome back to GraveyardDance.com. A few weeks ago, we covered a story about a guy who became obsessed with the Friday the 13th movies and took his movie obsession to a dark place and committed a horrible murder. This week, we are going to cover another very similar tragic story. A guy who became obsessed with the TV show Dexter. Dexter is a critically acclaimed American crime drama television series that premiered on October 1st, 2006, and ran for 8 seasons until September 22, 2013. Created by James Manos Jr., it is based on the novel Darkly Dreaming Dexter by Jeff Lindsay. The show stars Michael Seed Hall as Dexter Morgan, a forensic bloodspatter analyst for the Miami Metro Police Department who leads a double life as a vigilante serial killer, targeting other murderers who have escaped justice. Dexter struggles to balance his homicidal urges with his desire to appear normal, often navigating complex personal and professional relationships. Before we get to all that, though, we just want to say that we hope you'll take a moment out of your day to hit that old subscribe button and actually take a second to actually hit the like button on our video. It helps us so much more than you could ever know. You can also see all our work by heading to our website at GraveyardDance.com. There you will find all our work, all of our social media platforms, and of course our merch and other fun stuff. Wouldn't you love to be rocking this great Graveyard Dance shirt to tell the world about one of your favorite channels? If you're not into all that, we have other non-graveyard related stuff like t-shirts, mugs, hoodies, and even candles that are all spooky related and cover themes such as aliens and UFOs, ghosts and hauntings, and even true crime. You can find all that in our shop right there on GraveyardDance.com. With all that out of the way, let's get on to today's creepy story. In October 2008, a chilling crime unfolded in Edmonton, Canada, that would later be linked to the popular television series Dexter. The case involved Mark Twitchell, an aspiring filmmaker who became infamously known as the Dexter Killer. Mark Andrew Twitchell, who was born on the 4th of July of 1979, was a particularly odd little firecracker. Born in Edmonton, Alberta, Twitchell dreamed of making movies from a very young age. He graduated from the Radio and Television Arts program at the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology in 2000. Not long after the following year, he met and married his wife Megan Castorella. They divorced due to irreconcilable differences in 2005. Looking back, it kind of makes you wonder what some of those differences was, won't you agree? In January 2007, Twitchell married his second wife, Jess, who was completely happy to be married to the aspiring filmmaker. That is, until the cops came knocking on the door for questions she knew nothing about, but would later to be completely and utterly horrified by. Is it even worth mentioning that she obviously divorced this lunatic after learning of his crimes? Let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, though. On October 3, 2008, Gillis Tatro was lured to a garage in Edmonton under false pretenses. He had been communicating with a woman named Sheena, or so he thought. He had never actually spoken to her over the phone. All he knew was what he saw online, and that was a fake photo of someone who didn't exist on an online dating site. When he arrived at the location, he was ambushed by a man wearing a hockey mask. The assailant attacked Tatro with a stun baton and attempted to restrain him with duct tape. However, Tatro managed to escape after realizing that his attacker's gun was fake. Police should have been called, and that should have been the end of the story, but sadly for a man named Johnny Altinger, that wasn't the case. Gillis was either so embarrassed by what had happened, or possibly scared of having to go back to the location of his attempted murder. He never contacted the police. Had he contacted them, it could have possibly saved the life of the next unfortunate man who was lured there, which was Johnny. Johnny came up missing when he responded to another add-on on October 10, 2008. His friends and family grew concerned when they received an unusual email from his account 3 days later. This email raised alarms about Altinger's well-being and prompted them to report him missing to the police. Altinger's friends provided police with the directions he had received for his date. These directions led investigators directly to the same garage where Tatro had been attacked. Upon arrival at the scene, police discovered evidence that suggested foul play had occurred. Mark Twitchell was identified as the renter of the garage where both attacks took place. At 29 years old, he was an aspiring filmmaker who had rented the space to shoot a short film titled House of Cards. The plot of this film eerily mirrored real-life events. It involved a killer luring victims into a garage and murdering them. When police searched Twitchell's garage, they found disturbing evidence that suggested it had been transformed into a kill room. There were plastic sheets covering windows and blood spatter on various surfaces. Initially, Twitchell claimed that this blood was part of his film's execution scene. However, further investigation revealed significant amounts of human blood. Investigators soon learned that Twitchell was an avid fan of the Showtime series Dexter, which follows a vigilante serial killer who targets other criminals. Twitchell even posed as Dexter Morgan on social media platforms. This obsession played a crucial role in understanding his motivations for committing murder. At first, when Twitchell started to explain all the various things that made him look suspicious, like the paper towels, bleach, and all the blood which they didn't know was actually real blood just yet, and even the props such as this butcher's kit that was found at the scene, were actually all just part of the movie-making process. It sounded reasonable to police, but when they found Altinger's car parked nearby, and Mark started to tell a lavish story of this guy who had met a woman and was going away to Costa Rica and had sold him the car for only $40, to say police wasn't buying it would be an understatement. Twitchell had just cooked his proverbial goose. As investigators continued their search, they discovered Altinger's blood in Twitchell's car trunk along with a knife bearing traces of blood. Additionally, they found deleted files on Twitchell's laptop labeled SK Confessions, which detailed his crimes in graphic detail. Despite claiming these writings were merely fictional screenplays, prosecutors argued otherwise. On Halloween Day in 2008, authorities arrested Mark Twitchell based on overwhelming evidence linking him to Johnny Altinger's murder. The discovery of incriminating materials on his property solidified their case against him. Twitchell's trial began in early 2011 and garnered significant media attention due to its connection with Dexter. Prosecutors presented extensive evidence demonstrating how Twitchell meticulously planned Altinger's murder while drawing inspiration from fictional aspects of the TV show. Experts analyzed Twitchell's psyche throughout his trial and subsequent incarceration. They noted traits consistent with antisocial personality disorder and narcissism, characteristics often associated with individuals who commit violent crimes without remorse or empathy for their victims. During his trial, Twitchell attempted to distance himself from any direct association with Dexter by claiming that his actions were not influenced by fiction, but rather stemmed from personal issues unrelated to pop culture influences. The case captured public interest not only because of its gruesome nature, but also due to its connection with popular culture. Many viewers were shocked by how closely reality mirrored fiction in this instance, a phenomenon often referred to as copycat behavior. Mark Twitchell was ultimately convicted of first-degree murder for killing Johnny Altinger and sentenced to life imprisonment without parole eligibility for 25 years. His case serves as a grim reminder of how fiction can sometimes blur lines between reality and fantasy, leading individuals down dark paths inspired by what they consume through media. Mark Twitchell's story is one marked by tragedy. A young man whose fascination with fictional violence culminated in real-life horror for innocent victims seeking connection through online dating platforms. As we mentioned earlier, this was far from being the only other case where life imitates art. Here is another interesting case we did quite some time ago that you may want to head over to the site and find. I'll also leave a link in the description box below. What do you think? Was the creators of Dexter in any way responsible for inspiring Mark, or was Mark a lost cause and prone to kill either way? We'd love to hear what you think. If you have a story idea that you'd like covered, drop them in the comments section below. We hope you'll consider liking our video and subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to ring that bell notification to see all our future and past work. You can also see it all on our website at graveyarddance.com. Till next time, thanks for watching everyone.